Aloha and great afternoon. Will the Joint Committees on Public Safety, Intergovernmental Military Affairs, and Water and Land please come to order? Today is Monday, April 8th, 2024. We are in the State Capitol Building, room 229. We welcome our committee members and members of those in the audience seated in the room or those joining us on Zoom. For all testifiers, including those on Zoom, we ask that you stand on your written testimony. If your oral testimony is different from your written testimony, the time limit for each testifier will be 1 minute. The content, including the hearing notice, copy of the bills, resolutions, I should say, and testimony can be found on the legislature's website. The live video stream and archive of this hearing can be found on the Senate's YouTube channel. Decision-making will occur after we hear from all testifiers. If we have a catastrophic technical failure, we will resume this hearing in this conference room on Wednesday, April 10th, 2024 at 3:05 p.m. With that, members, we just have one item on our agenda, which is HCR 3, urging each county to establish an emergency zoning code for post-disaster use. The only person registered to testify on this is Jacqueline S. Ambrose in support. Anyone else in the audience or on Zoom that wishes to testify on HCR 3? Yes, please come forward.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young, testifying in strong support because this is a priority from the working group. It doesn't state in the research of the intent of the purpose of the shelter working group if they did or did not logistically plan for the solutions, such as the sites that will operate the temporary shelters, the trailers, recreational vehicles, and prefab housing. So prefabricated housing is like Hawai'i, where it is mobile and built off-site in advance, usually in standard sections that can be easily shipped and assembled. So I'm just wondering if these solutions were something they thought of just as an idea in the working group. And also, I think it is a good starting point to start a discussion with the counties to see what is workable. And if the goal is to work with trailers and prefab housing, the resolution should include a request for potential vendors to work with the appropriate city or state office.
Thank you, Angela. Your time's up. Thank you. Anyone else that wishes to testify in HCR 3? Okay, if not, any questions, members?
You know, what comes to mind, thank you, Chair. What comes to mind when I looked at this, the tidal wave that happened in 1960 in Hilo, there were two factors of displacements and displacers. We had the loss of the housing and including the majority of the businesses. And I'm just wondering, because the resolution only speaks for housing, now in case there's small businesses that don't have properties elsewhere, that if some of the public lands could be available for them as well.
This is prospective zoning. I mean, a prospective to all counties to have this kind of emergency zoning so they can put modular housing up.
No.
But they could do this already.
Yeah, what I'm saying
under
is
the
that
proclamation process.
this has to do with residential only,
No, I know.
but I was just wondering how we would accommodate those for the small businesses.
Well, I think it's redundant, and it could actually create problems if you have to now stand up a separate zoning system for emergency zoning for modular housing in your EP process. I think it almost add to any delay of implementation of emergency housing.
What I'd like to do was just, for the record, just to share that in case we have future discussions when we get to emergencies, because I think we have to look at the entire issue, because anything can happen to all our islands. And unfortunately, for the case of, I think would be hurricanes and tidal waves, you would have displaced businesses. So, so future, let's think about that as well. Okay.
Any further discussion, members? Okay, you ready for
Sure.
recommendation?
Yes.
You okay?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay. Chairs have conferred the recommendations to pass HCR 3 unamended. Yes, further discussion?
I appreciate
Senator McKelvey?
I appreciate it, but given what I've just said about this could actually add another layer, I know it's prospective in nature to all counties, but that's a concern. Number two is, because this could potentially affect my area, I don't think many of my constituents knew about this resolution, and so for that, just to put a pause, at least so there's more discussion on some of the reservations.
And I think, Chair, too, it says each county, so
Yeah,
I think it's statewide, yeah.
Okay, any other further discussion? Okay, if not, Chair Wakai, Vice Chair votes aye.
I vote with reservation. Senator Fukunaga is excused. Senator Rhodes. Aye. Senator Awa is excused. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Okay, for the Committee on Water and Land, same recommendation to pass HCR, sorry, HCR 3 as is. Any discussions for the Committee on Water and Land? Hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair goes aye.
Okay, Chair's recommendation is to pass HCR unamended. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator McKelvey.
Reservations.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Okay, Madam Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you so much.
This concludes
Thank
our
you.
business for today. We are adjourned.
Good afternoon. The Committees on Water and Land and Transportation and Culture and the Arts is on its hearing schedule for Monday, April 8th at 1:30 p.m. in room 229 with regards to HCR 198. And just to remind all of us, for the testifiers, we ask that you stand on your written testimony or limit your oral testimony to a minute. The content of this hearing can be found on the legislature's website. The live video stream and archive of the hearing is on the Senate's YouTube channel. Decision-making will occur after we hear from the testifiers. Members, let's proceed with HCR 198. And this is requesting the state's congressional delegation to advocate for the enforcement of existing international laws to reduce ghost nets entering the state from international waters and take other actions to reduce marine debris from fishing gear. Testifying today, very small, I think, do we have anyone testifying? Yes, we do.
Ghost testimony.
Yes, DLNR, Sense Communication IT. I understand DLNR, either Brian or a representative will be on Zoom.
Currently not present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, members, sending communication in support, as well as Lisa Bishop, Friends of Hanauma Bay, and Jacqueline Ambrose, an individual in support as well. Is there anyone here who wishes to comment or testify on HCR 128? Angela. Aloha.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of CARES. So the resolution, I think, can be more focused. So I have a proposal with new amendments. And it should say the Congressional House Committee on Appropriations and Committee on Natural Resources is requested to advocate for international law relating to ghost nets and international waters. And the laws that it can advocate and research for is the National Defense Authorization Act and the National Environmental Policy Act. And there should be a working group started with NOAA and offices with similar goals in the Congressional Committee of Natural Resources and the Subcommittee on Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries, because these committees manage matters concerning to water resources and also fisheries management, international fisheries, seafood safety, ocean engineering, technology. And the acts that I referred to, National Environmental Policy Act is a United States environmental law designed to promote the enhancement of water, oceans, and the environment. It's a critical environmental and civil rights law, which gives communities a chance to comment on federal projects that may affect neighborhoods and water quality. And it applies to ocean-related activities such as management of fisheries, offshore energy, vessel trafficking, ocean dumping, military activities, and others. And also the
I think you can
National-
summarize, Angela, please. Wind down your comments.
congressional offices, such as NOAA, will be more
Thank you. Angela.
practical of an office to work with to implement the goal
Thank you.
of the resolution.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishes to speak to HCR 198? Okay, hearing none. Members, Chair, you ready? Okay, we are prepared to go in decision-making on HCR 198. Chair's recommendation is to pass with the amendments, just adopting the technical and non-substantive amendments. Any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, the Committee on Water and Land for the vote on HCR 198. Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments HCR 198. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator McKelvey.
Yes.
Senator Favela. Madam Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. TCA Committee, same recommendation.
Yes, with amendments.
Right, with
Okay.
amendments. Oh, you got it.
Yes, okay. For the Committee on Transportation and Culture and the Arts, Chair's recommendation to pass SCR 198 with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Elafante.
Aye.
Senator Kanuha. Aye. And Senator Awa is excused. Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, this concludes the joint hearing on the Committee on Water and Land and the Transportation and Culture and the Arts. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, members. Good afternoon. The Committees on Water and Land and the Committee on Housing is on its agenda of Monday, April 8th at 1:45 p.m. with regards to HCR 140 House Draft 1. And as a reminder, we'd like to ask the testifiers that you stand on your written testimony or limit your oral testimony to a minute. As a refresher, the content of this hearing can be found on the legislature's website. The live video stream and archive of the hearing is on the Senate's YouTube channel. Decision-making will occur after we hear from the testifiers. Okay, we are on HCR 140, House Draft 1. Urging the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development to develop a scope of work or requests for proposals for bidders to perform their own analysis and methodology that determines whether a development will contribute to the long-term fiscal sustainability of the state and respective county. Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, aloha. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Chairs, vice chairs, committee members, Katia Balaciano on behalf of OPSD. We stand in support of this resolution and I'm here available for questions.
Okay, just a question. Have any of this requests come before the agency this year or last year?
I
This
don't.
is new, yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, this is new. The previous version of this asked that we actually do develop the methodology
Right.
and do the analysis. And our response was, we just don't have the staff and the money to do that. However, what is being asked here is much more narrow. It's establishing a scope of work that could then be put out to bid.
Oh,
And we
okay.
could develop that scope for you.
Okay, so you don't see any issues or problems in doing this?
No.
Yeah, okay, that's good, good news.
Yeah.
All right, members, any questions of the department?
Just a quick question.
Senator
Sorry.
McKelvey.
See the money to do this then?
No, we do not have the
Yeah.
money to do this, but we can develop the scope. Putting
Well-
a scope together involves a little bit of research and 4 or 5 pages of,
But eventually you're gonna have to go out and get a vendor and pay them, right?
but that's not part of this resolution, as I understand it.
Well, the expectations are isn't that, okay, you've done the work, then we're
At
gonna
that-
need money next year to
Right, so
follow
the,
through on it.
the report that we'd be submitting to you would include, here's the approximate cost of doing this kind of work.
And the process that
And
you
and the
developed.
process, right?
Okay,
Yep. Okay, any discussions? Is there anyone else wishes to speak to HCR 140 House Draft 1? Members hearing none? Yes, Angela, thank you so much. Okay, HCR 140.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee. Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of CARES. So when you're assessing the future economic value of development, there should be a focus, right? You're not just going to evaluate Y&I for economic value. But you would evaluate Kapolei because the county's land use ordinance and the general plan and the sustainable development communities plan from the counties already has mentioned that Kapolei is going to be their focus, okay, of development. So because you have this overall state goal to build more development, and yet the county is responsible for zoning, planning, and permitting, the planning process really should be to work with the counties and to see what all the other counties want to do, and to consider the general plan, sustainable communities plan, and each district within the city council has a plan. So the planning process from the county has policy goals for population, directing where population
Angela,
should
your
grow.
Your time is up, Angela.
Yes, okay. And that can be a shared burden with the county also, because they paid for those plans if you can't afford it. Thanks.
And just to let you know, this is a focus on all the islands and all the community, not specific one that you just mentioned, like just Kapolei. Just to let you know. Okay, any discussions, any questions? Hearing none, is there anyone else wishing to speak to HCR 140 House Draft 1? My partner in housing, Chair Chang, ready for the vote?
Yes.
Yep, you agree, the changes? Okay, both committees, on the Committee on Water and Land and the Housing Committee is going into decision-making on HCR 140, House Draft 1. Chair's recommendation is to pass with an amendment, just adopting technical and non-substantive amendments. Any discussions? Hearing none for the Committee on Water and Land, pass with amendments. Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments HCR 140. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator McKelvey.
Yes.
Senator Favela. Aye. Madam Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Committee on Housing?
Same recommendation for the Committee on Housing to pass with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye, Senator Aquino.
Aye.
Senator Kanuha. Senator Awa. Excused, Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Okay, that concludes the joint committees on water and land and housing. Good afternoon, folks. Be safe.